Yeah. All right. Enough of all that.
Hey.
How do I stop this thing? Hey. Hey. Hello, world. Hello, internet. Hello, Facebook, YouTube. Whoever is listening to this, whenever you listen to this, hello. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Can't Tell Us Nothing show, everybody. We got Booby, a.k.a. John. Yeah, we got Tandy with the applause. We got Amici. We got myself, Antoine. We make Can't Tell Us Nothing, an improv group out of Houston, Texas. And we use the show to talk about whatever's going on, opinions, discussions, topics. It doesn't matter. But we use all that to inspire improv scenes right here on the show. We just make it up, hop in, do some scenes, get out, get back to this discussion. Sometimes, if we're lucky, we're joined by a special guest. Today happens to be one of those days. We're all in luck. We got Saurabh in the house. This guy. Yeah. This guy is a fellow improviser out here in H-Town. I'm in a group with him called Baby Knuckle, but he's also in other teams. Very funny dude. Saurabh, can you tell the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and whether or not we're friends?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll go in reverse order. I'd say we're friends. Antoine and I just went to a Texans game, and that was some real bonding when you see your team go from 1-9 to 1-10. So I feel like we really bonded over that.
An embarrassing loss to the Browns.
But I feel like a win for our friendship. I feel like we learned a lot about each other. Yeah, I think so.
That was a very
big dubs. Big dubs for the friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm so thank you so much for being here, for letting me be here. Y'all are such an inspiring team. I'm very honored to be invited. I am a Houston improviser. I used to be here. I left for a little bit. I came back. So it's nice being back. It's been lovely meeting all you fine folks in the last year and a half or so, and excited to chop it up. Talk about the hot button issues. Not too hot. Yep. Let's say tepid
button issues. I always ask this for people who've improv outside of Houston. What are some of the differences you saw when you were performing elsewhere, like compared to how Houston does improv comedy?
Yeah, great question. Houston obviously is a smaller market, but it's super mighty. And I performed in Chicago for a while, and the interesting thing is, I think people there just think it's like, oh, these big, like it's Second City, IO, and Annoyance, which are like colossal spaces. Like those spaces combined have 13 stages, like just those 3 buildings. It's massive. But then there's like a lot of like small DIY theaters that just sort of popped up with people that didn't want to do, the big theater scene. So I think that's one thing people don't necessarily realize. Like there's small cool stuff happening like in attics and like at bars and stuff like that. So you get to really hit the full spectrum while you're there, which is something I really appreciated.
Some like
what was one of your favorite places to perform while you were there?
I'd say 2 come to mind. One was they did this show twice a week, and it was called Shithole. And they named it Shithole because they're like, we don't want there to be this pressure to be like, you're on like one of these coveted stages, or you should be so honored to be getting like this slot. So they're like, it's called Shithole. Come by and be shitty. And it was cool because they did one show actually in their house's attic. That wasn't, just off the cuff. They do an attic show. And then another show each week was just in a random place. Like it might be in a school cafeteria, or it might be like just any kind of space that they could find. And that was the whole premise, where it's like, yeah, you don't need massive stage. You don't need like the best lighting grid. You can just do any of the work you want, wherever you want. And then the second show was one called Paper Machete. And that was actually a variety show. And it was at this jazz bar called the Green Mill in Uptown. And it's bar's been open since like 1901. And they kind of branded themselves as a live magazine. So they had everything from like puppet work to single characters to musicians to like lip syncing stuff. And it was at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. And it was completely packed every single Saturday in this jazz bar. So I really respected those shows because they were like, we don't have to. And I say that being like a Second City guy, IO guy, you know, like I played the machine of it and I had a blast, but also I had so much fun doing these small things that were like, we get to choose what our art is and we can celebrate it however we want, which is what I really respected about those two places.
Question to all of you. So do you guys think a stage like Shithole can work in Houston in the long run, like can gain traction? I think it'll work for a couple of weekends, but do you think something like that has longevity in
like shows that may take place outside in the summer? 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Like you said, the lighting isn't great. It might be in somebody's house or something. Like for the people I know, they only go so far to be uncomfortable to watch some suspect improv, you know. So it's like, but that's just my group. I'm sure there's a lot of diehards out there who really hunger for something more avant-garde.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Yeah, it would have to be something really bringing a draw there. That's not just improv, I think, in Houston. But I think anything is possible.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be depending on where you put the shows. Yeah, if it's like cool spaces and fun new type of things, yeah, it could work. But not a school playground on a Saturday afternoon.
School playground.
Not in the summer of Houston. Not even improvisers will show up for that.
It's a heat stroke.
Yeah. I think you have like a short, you have a short run, for a limited amount of time because people would find it like, oh, it's so cool, to do this thing. But would it last? Nah, if people here want to get dressed up, they want like to have an event, like you said, to be comfortable, to know that they've done something. And that just doesn't lend itself to that. Can you imagine getting dressed up and somebody's like, "Hey, we're going to shithole." What?
and then you got to commute to the shithole.
Yeah.
And commute out of it. That's another thing that hurts Houston, I think, is that it's so spread out. Everyone's so spread out that 75% of your audience has to commute from somewhere.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's just going back to these theaters in Chicago, like a bunch of them were just within like 4-mile radius of each other. Like they're all super close. So I think, John, yeah, you hit on it. I think it's difficult to cultivate something that moves around because it's hard unless you're like a major theater, like being like, well, yeah, I'll go inside the loop for that. Right. It makes it hard. And I think also like I think anyone can and should be able to play at the shithole, but I also think it's like a young person's game. Like if I'm 22 and there's like a puppet show at midnight in a barn, I'm like, yeah, I'm into that. I'm 31 and I'm all like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do that.
The Sandman gets a lot quicker when you get older. Get his job done. But I feel you. I would too. If I was in my young 20s, yeah, all those shows would be fair game.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you're right. I ain't driving far for nothing avant-garde. Avant-garde got to be next door. I'm not going to Spring. I'm not going. I ain't getting on 249. I'm not doing all that. But I mean, yeah. But it still sounds fun though. I still like to know what's happening. Right? I'd like to know I live in a city and just know that's happening, even if I'm not taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Right.
The cool stuff is there, but I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Well, I got a couple of things. I wanted to talk with you all about, and so I'm glad you're here to weigh in. If you've been paying attention to the news, there's a million things going on. The news is exhausting, but there's a few things that popped up for me that I was like, that's interesting. One of them, let me get my share going here. Let me get my share screen, my Zoom skills working. One of them, I want to talk about goblin mode. So apparently the people at Oxford that do the whole dictionary thing decided to change it up and throw it to the people for a new word to include in the dictionary. And they let people vote. Apparently it was between, I don't even know how it came down to this, but apparently it's between goblin mode, metaverse, and I stand with. Those are the three that it came down to.
And goblin mode won.
Of this
and goblin mode won in a landslide. Got 93% of the vote. Goblin mode doesn't even have a strong history. It's not even like a word we've been using for a decade. Good question. Goblin mode apparently just means you are being self-indulgent, antisocial, just staying in, being messy. It's like it's like being surrounded by food and dirty clothes, watching Netflix. So you want to go out tonight? Nah, man, I'm going goblin mode tonight.
That's some young 20-year-old stuff. Sure.
But
now, I would use it now that I know it's a real word. I'm gonna use it every week.
Yeah, that's nice.
You're going goblin mode that often?
Goblin mode. If I gotta go,
I feel like. Do you guys remember Bodie McBoatface?
I can't say that I do.
I don't.
If I remember correctly, and I'll look up in a second, but it was maybe 5-8 years ago. There was like a boat, I think, and they threw it out to the people in Ireland or something to name it.
It was
Scotland. Vote on it. Oh, Scotland. Yes. There you go. And yeah, Meech, you look it up in the background. Make sure I'm doing it right. And people, then the name that won was Bodie McBoatface. That's why we can't have nice things. Like you can't.
I mean,
the masses it's to come up with
a remarkable name. Sure. And we've had a lot of pretentious names for the last hundreds of years, right? So like maybe it's time to have some less pretentious names.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Swing the other way, like less regal, more kind of on the nose.
For sure.
Antoine and I were talking about that. Just to remind you, Antoine and I went to a football game and solidified our friendship. But the Texans is such an interesting team name because it came down to 3 names as well. Texans, the Apollos, and I forget the third one. But it felt like Texans was just sort of a panic move where they're like, well, the Cowboys is America's team. Well, how do we become Texans? We're going to be a Houston Texans. And they just had a panic attack. Like, do it, whatever. What's the mascot of the bowl? Who cares? Fuck it. Just go ahead and do the Texans. Which I thought was, looking back, I remember, and I was telling Antoine this, like, it was like 99 or 2000, and I was a kid, and even then I was like, this is pretty dumb, right? I think we all feel this is stupid.
Yeah, it sounds like the name they would have picked back in like the 30s when they were just like, we need to come up with something. Let's call us the Houston Texans, and then they change out of it to be the newer name. But that's like the Houston Texans.
Yeah, before people like have like a proper sense of geography. Where's Houston? I don't know. All right, we'll call them the Houston Texans.
In Texas. But before Eisenhower created the highway system, we're like, I don't know where anything is. Texas. Okay, wonderful. Got it. Figured it out.
Yeah. So apparently the 5 nicknames that were finalists were the Bobcats, Stallions, Wildcatters, Apollos, and Texans.
Apollos, I would say, would be the second best. Or I would say that could have done something, but the Wildcatters, terrible.
Wildcatters.
I feel like both of these things have sort of benefited from having weak competition. Like it's not really much of a contest, you know.
No.
Yeah.
You don't think metaverse was a viable option for?
I think metaverse
word for Oxford too.
Who uses a metaverse?
This is true. I hear a lot about it. I'm not sure. Has it launched or are we in it or?
I don't know. I was literally having this conversation on Thanksgiving of how much I've never met anybody who's really in the metaverse, but we hear it on every commercial. I just feel like they're just stuffing it down our mouths and no one's really bought into it, you know?
Yeah.
It's the bobcatters of.
But maybe there's so many goblin mode people that they were like, I know people who go goblin mode. I don't know anybody in the metaverse. So
yeah.
We cut to parents knocking on their kid's door. Hey, open up in there. Open up. Come on, make me open the door.
Hold on, Dad. Hold on.
See, that's what I'm talking about right here.
All right. Hey, Dad. What's going on?
Look, your mom and I want to talk to you. We're worried that you're going goblin mode, and that's not something we want to support in this house. We don't like having goblins in the house. We have humans, we have family members, we have sons, parents, no goblins. And I've been finding a lot of clothes and candy wrappers, and I'm just concerned.
You're concerned?
Your mother and I are concerned, yeah.
I mean, Dad, I'm being honest with you, you raised me to become whoever I want to be. So I could put whatever I want to do, I could put my mind to it and I can do it. And I kind of want to go goblin, I want to become a goblin.
Oh, no, son. I mean, that's not how we raised that. The values we instilled. What values do goblins have?
What do you mean? What values do they have?
Goblins have a lot of values, Mr. Myers. Your son wants to be a goblin, and him and I decided that that's the right path for him. He's going to become a goblin just like me. Oh, hello, my name is Frankfurt. Okay, nice to meet you. Mm-hmm. Your son wants to be a goblin. We're going to be goblins together, and I think you should respect that.
Oh, God, I ran up the stairs. That man, he just climbed through the window. I saw him outside.
He did. He's wearing a potato sack.
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Dad, Frankfurt is one of the coolest people I've ever met. He doesn't get rattled over anything. He always eats the best foods, and he's always just so chill. And you guys are always so anxious and worried about doing work and stuff. I don't want to live like that.
Is this part of this new goblin mode? It is.
It
Let me take a picture. I'm going to go share it with Francine. I'm going to take a picture of him, and I'll see if she's seen anything like this. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, you talking to Francine, Marge. Francine is also considering going goblin mode. It's not just your son in the neighborhood, okay?
Whoa. Are you spreading goblin mode around the neighborhood? You're infecting our youth. You infected my son.
He didn't really affect me.
Yeah. If anything, your son came to me.
Oh, no.
Explain.
Well, I think in a too sturdy, too tight of a lifestyle, now more than ever being inundated with so much structure, Goblin Mode isn't affecting other people. Other people are absconding to the House of Goblin, okay? Mm-hmm. And I would say you try the exact same thing.
It's hard for me to take you seriously. You don't have any shoes on, and you're wearing a potato sack.
Oh, see that? You're being
completely disheveled. Why should I listen?
You're being prejudiced right now, Dad. You don't even know Frankfurt.
This is your future you're looking at right here. That's what you want to be?
You want to be someone wearing very, very comfortable clothing and doesn't have to pay arm and a leg for shoes anymore? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I buy comfortable clothing. I do the best I can.
Oh, see what you've done to your mother.
No. Did you see him snapping? He snapped his fingers at us. It may be too late already.
Look how long his nails are. Oh my God. What happened? Oh,
let me ask you, Linda. Linda, let me ask you. Linda, when was the last time you had a break? When was the last time Linda took care of Linda?
No.
When was the last time Linda went goblin mode?
Frankfurt, don't you try infecting my wife, okay? She is not going to fall for this, right, honey?
You got it, Mama.
It has been a while since I had a break.
And scene.